Hello and welcome to my bookkeeping hat. As an entrepreneur, you have many hats to wear and skills to master. Grab a coffee and let's jump in. Today, we welcome Ellen Gross from Solutions Business Services. Ellen brings over 20 years bookkeeping experience and 10 years banking experience to the table. As a self-employed bookkeeper, Ellen supports small businesses from industries throughout Northern BC. For the past 15 years, Ellen has created curriculum for and taught bookkeeping courses to various groups and individuals. Ellen is an expert in Sage and Excel, very important. Community Futures, Beasley Yard, and North Caribou have utilized Ellen's skills and expertise for the programs, such as self-employment program and the regional business liaison. Hello, Ellen.
Hi, great to be here.
Awesome. So glad you're back. So Ellen, today we're talking about the things a business owner needs to consider when interviewing potential new bookkeeper.
Perfect. So when we discussed the job description last week, deciding what skills and knowledge that you will need your bookkeeper to have. So we are assuming now that you have received a bunch of resumes and are ready to begin the interview process. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is pre-screen. So, and again, I'm assuming you have a lot of applications for this job. If you only have two, this is probably not a step that you're going to need to worry about. Excuse me. So for pre-screening, you're going to look at your job description. You have already figured out the must-have skills. So when you are looking at your resumes that you've received, you're going to look for those must-have skills. And anybody who does not have them or does not show them on the resume, those are the ones you're going to scrap at that point, which should leave you with only the people that are showing they have the must-have skills for the job. Okay. So that's the first step. That just shortens your workload so that you don't have to interview every single person that has submitted a resume.
Awesome. I know here we create, maybe I shouldn't be telling the secret, but we create spreadsheets and we have the applicants down one column and then all the skills, and then we just check the boxes so we can, it gives us a nice, and everybody that's viewing it has access to the spreadsheet so we can all see what, so it makes a big difference for sure and really helps you.
And that's perfect because you can use your spreadsheet and you can use your spreadsheet to go, okay, this person has so many tick marks for the stuff I need, they're going to get an interview. This person doesn't. So as you look at the resume, you put in the tick marks, right? And then you look at your spreadsheet and go, okay, this person has the 5 tick marks I need, and this person, these are the ones that get interviewed. And then you can look at your spreadsheet and go, okay, this is very easy to figure out who we're going to interview and who we're not, right?
Right. Definitely.
Oh yeah, that's an excellent idea. Cool. So the other thing, once you're done pre-screening, then you're going to schedule for your interviews with all of your people. So you need to remember your interview skills will help you determine some of the personality traits that the applicants have as well. So that's something that you need to keep in mind. It's more of a personal thing. How is this person going to fit in with the rest of the team in your business? How are their communication levels? How are their problem solving levels? What level of problem solving do you think you need them to have, right? Not just what they currently have, but if you, for example, if you have a business that has complicated procedures or a complicated sales method, for example, let's just say you sell farm equipment. So you have to talk to a potential buyer, you have to go through what the individual buyer needs, you have to create an order, you have to make sure the customer has agreed to the piece of equipment you've ordered, they need to sign equipment purchase forms, they probably will need to sign finance forms. So that's quite a procedure before you're able to sell that product, right? So someone dealing with that would need a higher level of problem solving skills and attention to detail than someone who is just selling an item, who's going to look at selling an item through a till, right? So you need to look at that process in order to determine the level of the skill that you need the people to have. And personality does make a difference. It helps your team flow together if they're kind of all on the same page. So, if I walk into the office and tell a joke, right, and everybody's kind of like, well, that was kind of gross, right? We're not really on the same page, and I'm not perceiving what they are going to deem funny, right? So, and as weird as it sounds, that is a communication issue. So when it comes to business and I say, something about, oh, well, this finance contract needs another percentage, then they're going to look at me, what are you talking about? What do you mean other percentage? Like, you need to communicate better, right? So right. It does fall down to personality types as well, right? For a bookkeeper, they do need attention to detail. So that's one important item that you're going to be looking for as you're going through the interview process. You really need to listen to how your applicant answers the questions, what type of answers they come up with. Do they seem confident when they're answering the question? So if I ask you, for example, if I ask the very simple questions, so what category does accounts payable fall under? And if you ask me that question, I went, accounts payable? I think it's a liability, right?
That's how I would answer.
So that's an indication that I'm not that confident about accounts payable, right? I'm not that confident that I just gave you the right answer. I kind of was, just pulling an answer out of wherever and hoping it was right, because that wasn't very confident. So if you ask me what category does accounts payable fall under, and I go, it's a liability, that's a whole different answer. So you need to listen to that and hear what's coming from the other side to know if you have the right person. Another tip maybe that would help is letting the peers that this person is going to be working with do interviews on their own. So if I'm going to be working with 4 other people directly, or if I'm going to be maybe even supervising 4 other people, right? Get them to interview me just to see how it goes. Like, what's my communication like? Were we able to have a conversation? Were we able to understand each other? Or was it like, hey, I asked her 4 questions and I really didn't get an answer on any of those 4 questions, because those are the people that I'm going to have to work with. And if we can't even have an interview conversation and they can't understand me, then maybe my communication skills are not up to what they need to be for this position, right?
Right. I've had that in a few times where I've had group interviews, and it's quite interesting on both sides of the fence. Like, I've been part of the interviewee, and I've been played a part as an interviewer in group ones, and it's pretty interesting to see everybody's perspective on it. Yeah, it is excellent. Sorry, go ahead.
And it's same thing. I've been in a group interview situation, and whether they're hiring a bookkeeper, a subcontract bookkeeper, an employee bookkeeper, say this should be exactly the same process, because they are still going to have to do the same thing. So I have been in group interviews. I have been in group interviews where there's 5 people interviewing me at the same time, right? There's a couple of owners, there's the bookkeeper, there's maybe the wife of an owner because she does the ordering or she does the contact with the bank, right? And you have all of them throwing questions at you. So, how would you handle this? What do you do here? What is this? I had an interview and they were all throwing questions at me, and it we had a hoot. Actually, it turned out to be a real hoot, but they were all just throwing questions about, well, what about this? What about that? What about this? And their accountant was there. They had asked her to come in to help them with the interview, right? So, and she's participating too. So we're all kind of, oh, well, what about this and that? What have you done? And, how about this? And, we're having an inventory problem. So we really need to get that fixed. I'm like, yeah, you do really need to get that fixed. Okay, well, so where can we start? This is a program we're working in, and these are the problems that we have. So, and then we're kind of we discussed that for probably an hour. And she goes, I do kind of have a test for you. This is the accountant, right? I said, that's perfect. She goes, well, I don't, we had a pretty good conversation. I don't really feel like, I'm not sure if it's appropriate to ask you these questions or not. And so I said, if you have a test that you've done because you have looked at the job description and you've determined that you have certain skills that you need this person to have, you should definitely always ask the questions. Because that you have determined that that's what you need, and you need to follow through to make sure that the person actually has those skills, because a lot of people can talk a lot, okay? And it's very easy to have a conversation about bookkeeping and sound very well, but it comes in the execution, and you want the execution. It's way more important than the conversation. So when you actually put the test into place, then you can test the execution. Do you actually know all the stuff that we just talked about? Do you actually know the particulars and how you get there? So it's very important to follow through with your whatever you decide is your ability to deem that this person has the knowledge and the skills. And then the last thing we're going to talk about is a test for the skills, some of the skills and knowledge that you need them to have. Like if you've determined, like I said, you've determined the five skills that they absolutely have to have, then you should have a test developed for those specific skills, because you've deemed, I don't have time to teach it. This person has to be able to walk into this position and do these 5 skills. The other things we can teach them as it goes, but these 5 things they have to know when they walk through the door. You should definitely do a test to make sure that they do in fact have those skills and are able to execute them. And that's the only way of testing to see if they actually do. Another thing we talked about on the job description was looking at the job description and determining what you can train and what you can't. So when you are interviewing, if you're going to be training somebody, interview for those things, again, with a high attention to detail to find out exactly what their level is so that you can plan your training program, right? Because if I have, so let's go back to the equipment dealership, right? Let's say I have a lot of experience with purchase agreements, but not so much with the ordering procedure and understanding what happens after a purchase agreement is signed. So I might say, oh yeah, I've got experience with selling equipment, right? Because I have signed purchase or signed purchase agreements or read purchase agreements or did something with purchase agreements. So you need to develop some sort of a test that says, okay, so I need you either to complete these forms that are the whole equipment purchase circle, or I need you to answer these questions. Whatever you deem is going to assure you that I can prove I have knowledge about the whole purchase circle, then you need to do. That's the only way you're going to know that I have the actual knowledge or not.
Right.
And always remember, everything is personalized to your business. It's not really, there's nothing is really right or wrong. It's you talking about your business. You're hiring a person to work in your business. So, if you pull somebody else's method of interview, it may or may not work for you. Make sure that if you do borrow someone else's, that you really look at it and how it applies to your business, how you do business. If you have 2 businesses who are identical, let's say 2 drugstores, right? Okay. 2 drugstores in the same city. They're going to do pretty much the exact same thing, right? But their individual policies will differ.
Right.
Okay. Their level of communication with the customer might differ, right? Their level of communication with the staff might differ. The duties for each staff member may differ from what the other business has. So you have to look at your own business and make sure that this interview process is going to work for you and help you pick out the best person for the position. So
right, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. And that's all I got for today. I am going to send a little test for a bookkeeper that you can download
Perfect.
off of the website. It's just a very simple thing to collect some basic bookkeeping skills when you're hiring a bookkeeper. So you
Excellent.
will be able to download that off of the website, and it will be in PDF form.
Oh, fantastic. That's great. Thank you so
Yay.
much, Ellen. Those are
You're
some great tips. And I love the practical thing where they're able to download a test. So that will be included in the infographic that's also attached to the video. So you'll be able to take a look at that there as well. So that's great. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your time.
You're welcome. It was fun.
Awesome. All right. Have a great day.
You too. See you later.